Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. What's up, dude?
What is up, man? I'm in a different recording setup right now. No Yeti, so hopefully it doesn't come off as too terrible to listen to.
I would say it is like slightly more terrible, but like totally passable and not that bad at all.
That's deep.
Yo, are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk off the record about some cool stuff going on behind the scenes, but we'll save that for later.
Okay.
Ooh, alpha. What's up, dude? How you been?
Man, probably gonna sound like a broken record this week, but just enjoying Farcaster, like figuring out what's going on over there. Some more substantive, I think, critiques on like frames in particular. Yeah, and then yesterday it was awesome to see some folks doing like on-chain archaeological digs, right? And highlighting the rich history of Pixel Chain and the whole Crypto Motors, aka NFT Studios crew and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much what's been my entire focus over the past week, which is awesome. So much to unpack there, but how about you?
Yeah, man, I would love to sort of talk about all those things, man. But starting off with Pixel Chain, it is so great. I love it when stuff like this happens, where like every now and again, out of the blue, it seems like a random OG project. It's not a random OG project. It's like a very like important project within the space, in my opinion, and I think a lot of others. But a lot of those things don't see the light of day in the greater crypto sphere very often. So for them to like sort of get their time in the spotlight is well deserved and long overdue, man. They're an incredible team. So yeah, man, it's cool. And also, man, so many legendary crypto artists participated in it too. Like I saw some posts where I mean, you could rattle off dozens of names of people we sort of came up with who directly contributed to the project and everything. So it's cool, like all the way around to see that happen.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who did this first. Over on Warpcast, I saw Reneel talk about a Pranksy one Pixel Chain piece that they had scooped, and I was like, holy shit! I had previously really only ever seen people talk about the X-Copy Pixel Chain mints. So when I saw the Pranksy one, I was like, oh, damn, that's awesome to see a different name pop up there. And then I jumped over to Twitter and I saw Psycho Killer, aka I'm Sick Okay, on Twitter, just have a huge thread that unpacked, of course, like X-Copy, but Robness, Neurocolor, Pock, Brickman, Nate Alex, Cody, so many others. And also like Scent. Like I had forgot that Leandro back in the day had minted some founder mints for specific projects around then, including Scent with the OG colorful Scent logo, which I still have in my possession. And I was like, oh, damn, that's so happy, one, that I have that mint, and then from that particular project. And then to see that huge tweet thread kind of enumerating all of that history, I was like, damn, that's such a solid thread. And really unpacks the diversity, the variety, and like the history kind of perfectly. So big shout out to Psycho Killer for sharing the on-chain history like that. It's just Jesus. Like again, a simple way to look at NFTs and things like this are like tokenized bookmarks. Like everyone knows, like everyone bookmarks all the shit on the internet. No one surfaces it again ever, forever. It's lost to history. But now, thanks to these tokenized containers, it's very specific parts of history just continues to resurface over and over years later, right? and obviously will continue to do that. So just fucking awesome to see.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was cool. I was flipping through probably the same thread and saw, Jim, shout out Jimmy Eith, minted a bunch on Pixel Chain, messing around with like the old school Infinity logo, which, then became Nameless. And there's just like so much history wrapped up in that project, man. All that was going on when, concurrently or right around the time when they were building, that same team was building Metal Olympic Stadium for us, that whole campus and everything. And it's just such a great moment in history, and so many people were a part of it and like contributing their portion. And yeah, man, I just it's so good. I love it.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of Jim, there was another tweet that was referencing like the first tokenized loan or on-chain loan. And I think it may have been NiftyFi back in the day. And then Jim was the first one that took a loan out on an Avastar, I'm pretty sure, if I'm getting that history correct. So all of a sudden, just like a whole bunch of on-chain archaeologists unsurfacing all this history. Again, like this is not the first time we've talked about these things, but it's been a while. And to see like a whole new, or at least names that I haven't seen before, talk about it, it's really cool to have that whole crew that was around back then kind of get their, I don't know if flowers is the right word, but just recognition. And then resurfacing it, just embedding that deeper in the collective memory of everyone. It's so cool. And then to have like everyone just feeling nostalgic for those days when it was such a small group of folks doing things and coming together. It's very special.
It is, dude. I mean, I feel like we all like sort of knew it was at the time too, and like to have some outside validation, not that that's like super outside validation, but to have it like continue to come up in conversation, like, and as the space grows, like, the attention towards that grows and everything. I don't know, it feels good for people to recognize, the historicness of that project and just like pay attention to that era of the space in general, which I feel like, gets heavily overlooked. So, yeah, man, it's good vibes, dude. Dude, I'm speaking of good vibes, man. I'm slowly coming around to Warpcaster, and I still don't totally understand frames or like at all. But Fly Frogs whipped up a simple like, click a new frog frame, and I was messing with that, and then I like clicked rock paper scissors earlier today, but I don't really know like what's happening. However, dude, despite like it, a lot of it being sort of confusing still, everybody's there, man. And my feed, I really noticed yesterday after I've, finally spent like a bit more time with it over the past week. My feed is clean, man. It's like mostly, I mean, it isn't mostly, it's like basically all people I follow or care about saying shit that I care about, instead of me having to like, sort of sift through a bunch of dumb shit to find it, which, on Twitter, which I feel like I sort of just got accustomed to over time. Like I don't even see it or whatever, but I'm like, I don't know. It sort of hit me yesterday. I'm like, I really, the combination of like so many people being there that I actually care about and the feed being clean. I'm like, despite me not understanding half of what's going on or like the advantages of a lot of this shit, just that alone is sort of pushing me over the edge. So I'm like sort of hoping it gains traction, man, at this point.
I mean, their traction has been gained for sure. It'll be interesting to see how it scales and how many more folks jump in there. But it's been so cool to see Farcaster sort of bridge all the sort of dark forests that have emerged and that like folks in crypto have kind of like found and sought out and just kind of hacked together in terms of like just places to meet and communicate digitally. Like obviously Twitter has been a very prominent one, but there's a whole bunch of subreddits and then all the fucking Discord servers that are like proper dark forests. Like every server is cut off from every other server. But on Farcaster, it's like you have all these OG Ethereum heads / crypto heads, the DeFi degens, all the folks from NFT lands, including artists, collectors, collectible creators, PFP communities, and all the builders and devs around all of that, just in one place. And that sort of bridging function, I think, is just super powerful and has been something that the space is sorely needed for such a long time. And zooming really far out and getting crazy with it, it just feels like the real power is potentially political with something like Farcaster, having all these folks together, and again, just being one click away from anyone else. The potential for that collaboration, just having fun together with a whole new pools of folks that have been in crypto for so long that like you probably didn't interact with or only like saw fleetingly on Twitter if the algorithm gods like allowed it. It's super powerful, and I think we're only like scratching the surface of what's happening there. Outside of just like the interesting, cool, novel, technical advances, like with frames or channels as like new potential homes for like communities, which I'm super bullish on. And honestly, I just hope fucking Discord servers die and everyone just comes to Farcaster to make everyone's lives much easier. And same thing with like Telegram chats and stuff like that. Just all come into one place, drink the numbers, all that good stuff.
Yeah, dude, I think Discord offers a lot of things that are hard to replace, but yes, it is nice to have everyone like pick a place and be there. And I think like
outside of voice, what does Discord offer?
Mostly like the ability to see all the stuff and the live chat and the live stream and some of the additional functionalities beyond like just a gathering point where like we utilized weekly for the whip, that it's hard to replace being able to scroll back in chat and have a place to drop links properly, and just some basic functionality, man. I feel like the integration of something like that would be a killer, but I think some of that stuff is just hard to do or clunky elsewhere, which is how we've always ended up leaning on Discord. It's just like the best at some of the things that it does, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I think the only thing it does better like now is just the audio part. Like communicating in Discord servers sucks. There's usually too many channels that make communicating hard and hard to find information. And then the way that it's just like an infinite stream of communication, there's no like threaded replies in Discord, makes any sort of communication just like impossible after like a few minutes. And especially if there's a critical mass of users in there with like a high velocity of like comments and shit like that. I'm sure the same thing.
Yeah, dude, yeah, man. I think it's just better than the alternative, which really hasn't been there. And trust me, man, I agree with you completely on the like onboarding someone. Dude, I was thinking about this the other day, man. Early on in the whip, we did a lot of straight up onboarding people to Discord just to be able to like attend our events, which was a feat in itself. We had like a whole document drawn up that we really haven't had to send anyone in a long time. Like a lot of people have essentially been forced to learn how to interact with Discord if you want to participate in a lot of what's going on in this space. But that was certainly not the case early on, and explaining to people how to navigate this shit who haven't been here, just to be able to like find the voice channel, unmute your microphone, like basic stuff that like most people understand at this point. For such a janky platform, man, it's amazing that we've been sort of stuck with it for a while, man. But dude, I feel like Warpcast, like honestly, the thing I like the most about it is I feel like they got the most basic thing correct that all mainstream social media platforms struggle with, and I struggle with, is just that I just want to see the shit from the people that I follow. Like I don't want like a whole bunch of random shit being thrown at me and clickbait and like all this fucking shit. And I'm like, if they can just like maintain the integrity of that, then I like to tinker, man. I like figuring out strange things that are layered on top. But I feel like, that's what's been missing for so long, is just like a place where everybody is. And that's what's also been missing, is I feel like a lot of these platforms pop up and you get like a handful of people tinkering around with each one of them. But like, dude, I feel like, maybe I'm late to the party, but it seems like in a lot of ways the community is heavily interested in migrating over there.
Yeah, no, and they are. Every single day you see new folks join in there, familiar faces, a lot of new faces, and just people from parts of crypto that I was saying that have been building more DeFi focused, or just other parts of crypto that we just were never exposed to because of the algo bubbles, whatever reason there. And yeah, it's really cool. Breath of fresh air for sure. And because it is so very specifically crypto focused, everyone's pretty like-minded in a way that makes engagement on the whole like super thoughtful, and people are quite engaged for the most part. Honestly, it's like old scent vibes, except instead of such a small group of folks, because the space was so small back then. Now we just see like how big the space has become, with really thoughtful folks doing really, really cool shit. So that's been the other like just big impression on me, just how far we've come, and seeing what people are doing and have been doing, and how they're talking about concepts and like the direction they're heading, and like the new kind of bleeding edge that they're excited about. It's fucking fascinating. If you're not on Warpcast or any of the other clients like Supercast or whatever in the Farcaster ecosystem, jump on. Like, it's not late. It's like forever early, in my personal opinion. And the best thing you can do is just jump on and kick tires and see what's up.
Yeah. I forget who posted it, man, but someone before I was on it was like, just comparing the vibes from Twitter to Warpcast, and it's basically a Twitter clone, but with some, the more I understand them, some like really good features, man. I really like the having like a whip channel on there that sort of like functions. Johan put it well, as like a subreddit sort of, where content sort of lives independently of like the public post and everything. But man, so I've sort of been going back and forth like pretty evenly, just trying to figure out how Farcaster works, and opening up Twitter, because that seems to be still where I get the majority of my engagement and interaction with the community and everything. But man, opening up the public feed of Twitter definitely feels like all these people are like yelling shit and everything. And then you sort of open up Warpcast, and yeah, man, people are like talking about stuff, and there's like intelligent people saying shit that I don't like totally understand, but I'm interested in. And I do get old scent vibes, because I feel like that was sort of what was happening over there. Like, people were just like talking about shit that was like 1-2 layers beyond, the crypto bros yelling on Twitter and everything. And I've done a pretty good job of phasing and muting and blocking and curating my feed. But yeah, man, the vibe is very different. And I don't know. I feel like I'm so jaded from having been in crypto for so long, man. But I feel like we've all been waiting for, people to build something for ourselves that actually is better than what's out there currently. And the social media landscape in general being like total trash right now seems like it's ripe for the picking. And it would just be so refreshing if, like, we're getting to that point.
I think you nailed it. Like, this is definitely for us, by us, and better in so many ways than what exists. Like, it is that kind of level up, and something that crypto is kind of finally nailed. And that just like even the approach to building and the openness and like the ethos that's baked in, it's captured it in a really special way that, yeah, it's a little bit different. And there is obviously a learning curve, as there is for any fucking app, like Web3, Web2, regardless. But it's nailed so much of the core stuff out the gate that it seems like, at least in the short term, unless they make a monumental misstep, it's going to be a very, very cool experience to be a part of. And like for me, Twitter has become like LinkedIn, honestly. It's a place where you go for kind of like newsy stuff. It's like you're an old dad or mom sitting at the kitchen table opening up the newspaper back in the day. That's Twitter, all the global stuff. Like it's communication layer of the world, but also it's very public in a way where, at least for me, I know you're a different case. Like you approach Twitter the right way, like shit posting and like having fun with it all the time. For me, I feel very like I'm thinking about what I tweet versus casting. I'm just like letting it rip in a way that I haven't really ever done. And the freedom that comes with that is really, really fun, personally.
Yeah, dude, can you speak more to a point you just made in terms of like the openness and potential of the build side of it? Because it's something that I'm like still learning more about, and I'm guessing that people who are either new to the platform or not gotten involved or dived deeper into it like don't know much about as well. So can you give like explain like I'm five type of thing?
Yeah, so giving a stupid example. So when people jumped on Warpcast, for example, they're like, I'm trying to post a GIF, I can't do it. Like there's the hacky way to do it. But then there's builders that, for example, built a specific frame. They're like, hey, if you have a GIF, you load it in here and it'll seamlessly create like a beautiful frame for your GIF and display it really well. Builders building because the protocol is open and lets them build things that are useful to people that are using clients that are based on the protocol. Is one example. Images, like high res images, something that like now with a lot of the artists jumping on, they were hitting constraints. I know video is now the next thing that people are like, I want better video support. And in the community, there's people building clients or tools and services on top of the protocol that support and allow folks to post and share high-res images. Video is still TBD. I don't know if anyone's building anything there. But then there's like Linda Xie, and I forget who she's building this out with. Like, but Bounty Caster is like another service that leverages the protocol and the openness of it, and the fact that you can see when someone joined, how many followers they have, and then use that as kind of like a gating mechanism to bring people and allow them to use their bounty service and post like public bounties that people can interact with. And that's leveraging this open protocol where your casts, your like you yourself as a user and your specific attributes, like when you joined, how many followers you have, all that shit's public at the protocol level. So builders and tinkerers, they can leverage all of those things to build services that utilize them or create new integrations that allow folks to do things that they weren't able to, or at least weren't easily able to, using like an existing client. And again, like simple example is the frame for GIFs, extra client for rich image media and things like that. But yeah, there's a bunch of tools out there as well. I'll link in the notes the Farco system that Koopa Troopa had created, just this map of like the different protocols that are integrating into the Farcast ecosystem, the different clients, the different like point systems and tools and things like this that are being added and are available to folks. Just making sure that everyone understands what's available and what's being built is like the only kind of point of friction. But it's kind of fun because you get to discover new shit all the time, basically, as a result. Does that make sense? That's definitely not explained like I'm five, but
No, dude, that was a great explanation. I also need the GIF frame. Yeah, and I appreciate that. There was a bunch that I was not aware of. Yeah, dude, I feel like they've done the hardest thing, and two of the hardest things, which is like, I keep coming back to the same thing. Create something where I can actually see the stuff that I want to see, but also like capturing a very large portion of the community, at least that I care about, which has not been able to be done, at least across like a social media platform for a very long time. And going back to the example of Scent, man, I feel like that was a janky platform too. That was like talking about like OG Send before their updates and everything, and it was like an experiment. And every now and again there was like an update, tinkering around with the formula, and people sort of using it in different ways to showcase different things. But I again, man, I like that vibe, but I also feel like if you can capture the community's attention and get people sort of all in one spot, people are willing to, like, especially around here, put up with a lot of like jankiness. And like, at least I know I am, man. I'm like, it does suck that I can't natively upload videos, but like at the same time, being able to just find all the people that I want to find and see what they're actually talking about without having to like fucking dig through everything and go to people's personal pages and everything, and it just works well on like a very basic level. And so man, I feel like anything beyond that is like, at least for me in the context of Web3, is almost like bonus round. Like I'm willing to put up with a lot of jank to be able to find the people I want to find and communicate with them.
Yeah, and the jank is really where the power is too.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
So, like integrating ENS in a way that it was a little confusing for me at first, but the way that they've added it is anyone with ENS has priority with like the username. So if you jump on the platform late, but you have, for example, like Rizzle.eth, bad example because Rizzle hates ENS, but
yes.
that's
but yeah,
with hypothetical. You jump on late, Rizzle.eth holder, someone else had they're squatting on the Rizzle name. Like when you upload and associate your handle there, like you got priority. No one can squat on your name because you actually own it, provably. It's pretty cool. Totally not really technical, but actually sort of actually technical. In the Warpcast client on mobile, you can see all your NFTs that you hold in associated wallets, right? And then you can very quickly, easily just set that as a PFP. It doesn't give you a special frame or anything like that. It just lets you do that really easily from your collection that other people can browse publicly, which is cool. And also just fucking shout out GIF PFPs, which Twitter, everything's static except for a very few number of like legacy Twitter handles back in the day that were GIFs and that never updated their PFP from that GIF. It's such a small minority. Like the Streak Points Twitter handle is a legacy GIF. Actually, it has like sparkly eyes, but GIFs as PFPs are just perfect on Farcaster and Warpcast. Like I set a bike gan from Pindar Van Armen as my PFP. That's a totally 100% on-chain project, pixel looping forever, and then it just looks so good as a PFP, just like our whip logo that Chippyogi designed for the whip meetup channel that we set up. It looks so cool, right?
Anyway. Yes, 100%. I was having like GIF envy, and then I just remembered that I got a version of my PFP with the flames moving in the background, so I got to change that. I do love the GIF PFPs, and yours is dope too, man. I saw that update and was like, damn, Matt chose a cool one. Yeah, dude, it's I don't know, it's fun. You know me, man. I sort of like being involved in the experiments, and I like the building in public thing. And it's still, despite it being pretty large in the context of like gathering a lot of people who understand Web3, it still sort of feels like I don't know, a weird side community vibe or whatever, which I don't know, feels more at home for me and everything. So I don't know, man, I dig it. I'm coming around. I'm always like so cautiously optimistic with like anything in this space, because I feel like stuff grows and then people have a tendency to like fuck it up in some way. And so I really hope this is not that, but I don't know. So far, so good, man. I want to be a believer.
100%. So far, so good. But I do need to throw a lot of cold water on like the frames and like the reply guys around frames, trying to make them seem like there's something bigger than they are currently. It's still very confusing. Like we were talking about it earlier. Fly Frogs doing a frame. Molly, shout out Molly, making it easy for people to toggle through different fly frogs. It's interesting, but the other day, like it's kind of cool, half kind of shitty situation. But Jesse Pollock, I guess contributor 001 to base and all that good stuff, threw out a frame for like a sweet deal to claim a 1 cent hat that says like make it make sense, tied in with Coinbase, kind of like a cool marketing play, but using a frame. So a frame with pennies in there. The idea is that you click mint in the frame and then boom, you get the NFT, you go to the Coinbase shop, and then because you have the NFT in your wallet from Farcaster, you get an automatic discount, and then the price of the hat is 1 cent. Cool. Sounds awesome in theory. Then you have like Thread Guy going in there, dick riding a little bit too hard, be like, yo, 2 clicks, this is revolutionary, this is amazing. And then I'm like, all right, let me try this out. Going to the frame, clicking the mint button on the frame, it changes the image a little bit, but then you stay there. You actually need to then click the image, which acts as like a URL, taking you to a whole separate, I think it's Zora, minting site, where you then need to connect your wallet. Still, it doesn't carry over your Farcaster wallet or associated wallets. Connect, click mint, go through that process, then go to a whole other site, Coinbase shop, connect your wallet again, right? And then if you want to use a credit card, you got to do the credit card thing. If you have a Coinbase account, you can sign up through there. But then so many more clicks. It's like at least 10 clicks. So when I'm seeing people like, oh, this is revolutionary, it's like, no, it's not yet. They shave off some of these rough edges. Yeah, maybe, but definitely not now. So some of these people that are just farming engagement, the familiar faces that you see from Twitter coming over here, some of those folks need to check themselves because they're not doing anyone any favors, and it's creating a little bit more confusion with like what's possible today versus like what's not. Some good examples that you had earlier with like the rock paper scissors, like using ERC20 as like a token incentive that will be distributed automatically to winners being like just regular Farcaster or Warpcast participants that play this game in frame. That's kind of cool. Different, uses and leverages the on-chain aspect of user accounts, sets this kind of like bounty incentive programmatically. It's kind of cool. Definitely different. Can't do that with a regular ad on Twitter, for example, but folks need to highlight that shit and not kind of, disingenuously misrepresent what's possible today with frames.
Yeah, dude, I didn't get it. Like, shout out Miguel Gares because I see him out here on the regular on Farcaster, like sort of tinkering around with like what's possible and everything. And I know that's what he's doing, and I'm a huge fan of his art, and I own a whole bunch of his stuff, like always have and everything. So anyway, to throw some cool water on the frames, man. So he did a thing where it's like a free claim with I don't know if you hold warp or like whatever on the frame. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do the thing. And I've been trying to figure out frames, and this will give me a chance. And it's the same type of experience, man. I like click the frame, which takes me to a Zora page, which I have to connect my wallet to, which allows me to mint them Miguel Gares for free or for pennies or whatever, essentially. So definitely not complaining because I love his stuff. However, the frame experience just felt like an unnecessary, like, extra couple steps of confusion rather than like if he just posted the link directly and said like, come and get it, I would have like, saved myself a couple clicks and done the exact same thing without having all the hoops to jump through or whatever. So, I mean, I get it. Like, it's a tool that people are experimenting, with for different purposes. But I don't know, man. It's sort of a clunky experience. The frog thing, I think, is just a simple, dumb experiment just to sort of see how it works. So that I almost understand more. It's like, I want to see more frogs. I just click frog image and there's another frog image. Like, okay, that's like, I don't know if you're into that. That's like a thing. But I don't know, in terms of like the free claims and stuff like that, I've experimented with that one or two other times and had the same experience. And I'm like, I don't know if this is the way.
Yeah. What the worst experience is exactly what you said, when it's like, it probably would have been simpler if it was just a obvious hyperlink URL or something like that that people click. But like, there was one free mint that I had in frame, and it was because it's free, or because it used a warp. Like, I didn't actually need to go to another site, and it just deposited the NFT after I clicked the mint button in the frame to an associated wallet. And that was great. But I think there's constraints there where you need to use warps, and it has to be effectively free or something like that for you to stay in frame. I'm guessing. I haven't dug into the technicals to see why that was the case with that particular mint versus like what you're talking about. But shout out Miguel, like doing work and making awesome Farcaster art at the same time. But like, another idea with frames that is simple and clear and stays in frame is like an opt-in allow list or something like that, where because all of our Farcaster accounts or Warpcast accounts have an associated ETH address, whether it's one that we own or was created for us or whatever, you can click and just like have your address added to a list that could be then used as like a whitelist in the future to claim something, which you never need to leave the frame. It has a direct impact that wouldn't otherwise normally be possible or easily possible just using like an existing like image or something like that on Twitter. It would have to be like a manual process like we've done in the past or whatever. Or like an opt-in guest book that's a really like a Google Doc that people fill in their ETH address for. So like, there's things that are starting to pop up that are like, oh shit, that simplifies that thing. And I think right now it's that period where people are kicking the tires, seeing what works like individually. And then like the next level unlock will be after we get to a critical mass of potentially cool things we can do with frames, people putting it all together for like a more kind of mind-blowing experience is sort of what I'm looking out for, to see if that actually happens or not.
Yeah. No, it's cool, man. It feels like early on in like an experiment that has a lot of potential, and a lot of really smart people, directly involved with tinkering around and everything. So, yeah, man, it's good vibes. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh shit. Probably that point in the show to shout out and hype up the whip that's coming tomorrow. We got AL Crego, the legend, AL Crego jumping on, and then we have an anon snail may stay anon and hidden, but they've created a pretty cool HyperFi game world experience that we're going to be jumping into. Pretty excited for. And then we have two fake Rizzles making their appearance because you're going to be with family touching grass, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be away for a couple days on a pre-planned thing, touching grass with the fam and everything, and it just sort of collided, unfortunately, and it had honestly slipped my mind for a little while, and then scheduled AL Crego and the Snail Pirate adventure for this week. I have been doing a lot of stuff with the Whip YouTube channel lately. We have like a ton of good content on there, and so we've been regularly uploading the raw footage. So I am like excited to come back to it and listen in on the fake Rizzles and everything. I'm sure it'll be an event. Like, how could it not be? But I'll be sad to miss it. But it's gonna be fun, man. I was playing around with the pirate adventure. I briefly held the record for the boat race, but I believe it's been overtaken at this point.
No, it's gonna be fun. Excited to see how the fake Rizzles fake Rizzle themselves and imitate you and all that good stuff, or not, whatever. So shout out Show and Metageist for filling those big shoes, one each.
Incredible. I can't wait to come back and see what happens. Big shout out to them and y'all for making it happen. And I know I pass off some of my stuff on other people by not being there and everything. So the crew makes it happen no matter what, and it's a dang crew. Just out of curiosity, man, we've been sort of, the other thing that has sort of been like a running theme is like Nifty Island, and we've been sort of talking about it each week, and we were like, I couldn't totally participate, but I was like half in there and murdered Skeeny like a whole bunch of times when he was a trash can in Nifty Island on Friday after the whip, sort of like a cool gathering in the meme Discord that was like, I wasn't expecting to see so many people in there, but that was fun, man. What are your thoughts at this point?
Dude, how fun was that? Like that,
Fun.
we need to play it back. I'm trying to figure out this damn Discord integration to have like a portal into Nifty Island from the meme Discord. Jumped into Nifty Island, tried to tag a mod, be like, yo, how do we actually set this up? Like ABC steps. Still waiting to hear back on that, but our informal excursion last Friday at the same time we do the whip, 12 p.m. Pacific, was fun. We had like 10 plus folks in there, a couple people that were in world that ended up playing the death matches that we set up, and it was hilarious. I mocked Skinny several times. He also blasted me in my face and like assassinated me multiple times. It was hilarious. Some rough edges that keep popping up there, namely like when you do go in there with groups, starting matches is still really clunky and awkward. I wish there was an easier way for people to join after games have started in case they miss pressing Y whenever people are waiting to start the game. And then also just corralling people together, because some people fall into different games and just like, dude, come back over here. Just little features like that would go a long way in the community gaming experience. But those are, again, trivial compared to the fun and the smoothness and just like the overall great experience that Nifty Island continues to provide whenever we jump in there. So fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, that was really fun. I would love to do more of that. Won't be here. Friday is one of the days I'm away, but and definitely down to do it again in the future if we set that up. So dude, I must have murdered Show like half a dozen times, like sneaking up on him. Show's got to watch his back. So, dude, I've been thinking about this, man. So, my son has gotten into Fortnite recently, which is something that I have never personally played that much. But man, he's wanted me to, play it with him and everything. And, dude, it's fucking fun, man. It's like really like and really fascinating from like a. What is Web 2 doing in their version of this, type of detective work and everything. And they got like, Ninja Turtles IP woven into it right now, like so seamlessly, man. It's like so cool. You can like, get their items and, I don't know how long that lasts and everything, but there's like, fucking dude from Family Guy, Peter from Family Guy, you can be his character at the moment. And like, really doing like the cross world, or not cross world, but like cross pollination, cross brand, like integration that, we sort of do a lot of in our own like Web3 way and everything. And I was thinking about that in the context of like us playing Nifty Island together, which is essentially like, a variation of the Fortnite style game that is like nothing compared to, Fortnite. It's so easy to pick up and play, like, even having never played it before, just with some basic first person shooter experience, I can hop in and murk some people. But was thinking about what sets it apart, man, is what I really hope they continue to lean into is, seeing Skeeny show up in his trash can that he owns, that I know is made by Neon Glitch, and being able to slay him in, his, that is, I feel like what separates. Otherwise we're sort of like recreating like, a different variation of the same thing where we're just like, showcasing like other people's shit and trying to bring in brands to like, cross pollinate the thing. But I'm like, it's very tough to compete with something within the context of Web 2 like Fortnite that's just like really doing that idea at an extremely high, like intuitive level and everything. But we got the Web3 thing, man, and I feel like that is the interesting wrinkle that has always set all this apart. But we've never, dude. Remember when we had Bring Your Kid to the Whip Day, and then like Ogre wrote up that article about needing to whack people, and that sort of being like a missing element in everything we've got. I think it was actually my kid who mentioned whacking people or whatever during that whip. But we've needed something like this, but I don't think that like gives us the direct competitive edge. We've got to like fucking nerd out and Web3 eyes and tokenize and like not like try to compete directly with that model, which I don't know, man. I'm glad he's like getting into things that are like adjacent but like also sort of relevant to what I'm doing, because I wouldn't have picked that up and played just for fun, but to sort of get his take on it and experience it firsthand, I'm like, damn, dude, this is like some impressive shit.
Yeah, I think you highlighted the opportunity and like distinct avenue that we would go down, especially compared to Fortnite, potentially with Nifty Island. Nifty Island, obviously, right now is really similar, from what I understand too. I'm not a Fortnite player, but just from the look and feel generally. But that big differentiator is like what you said, like Skinny pulling in his Pepe garbage can and rolling around, like assassinating people. Like that shit's hilarious. But then leaning into that more and probably thinking about what's going on with Farcaster and Warpcast and these protocols that folks can build experiences and tools on top of. Like if you zoom out far enough and if the tools are available like that on the gaming side for Nifty Island, or maybe if it's not possible there, future project that would allow and enable that sort of emergent community-driven building, then you can get to a future where the end product is going to be so dramatically different than what the consumer version equivalent is, right? Which like Fortnite has been around for a long time, relatively speaking, in the gaming world, right? And they just keep leaning into the existing universe of IP, which is fun enough. Like Peter Griffin and Family Guy, like that's an awesome IP that speaks to a lot of people and is cool and not corny. And then to be able to like shoot and murder people as Peter, it's hilarious. But it's also a very constrained universe that only few folks are able to add to, from what I understand, versus the potential like limitless universe of not just like user generated IP, but then gaming experiences and things like this and all the other weird crypto enabled shit that's potentially possible. Zooming out like that, it's like, wow, like we could be somewhere very different. And it just, we have the advantage now of being able to watch and see what people are doing, because we know people are doing it. We know that's what the space really enables. And it's just kind of taking the popcorn out and enjoying the ride as we see that happen.
Yeah, man. I feel like we haven't like there's a lot we could learn from like what they've done, which I feel like Fortnite is a very classic example of like why you want NFTs. And the answer is people spend like blah 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 X amount of dollars per year on Fortnite skins, and you can't own them; they're locked in the game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Which is 100% true. But dude, they've done a very good job of making you want that shit. Like, even though you don't own it. And I feel like that's what we've like always really been missing. Like, people are willing to shell out money for these things. Like, and those aren't even things, but they're essentially like, people are treating them like the same things that we got. But we don't really have like that flywheel in place in Web3 where, really spins and creates the desire for people to contribute to that ecosystem, buy from that ecosystem, utilize from that ecosystem. It's sort of a grind, or has been a grind to get it there, but
not yet, right? I mean, that's I think ostensibly why Blooms have been incorporated into Nifty Islands, right? People doing
Yep.
things, adding value. Maybe they get something back that inspires a new layer of people that want to contribute and add value in whatever way they're able to if there's more tools there. Same thing with like
Yep.
Farcaster. People building these extra clients and services, they're getting some distinct benefit, either charging in-app, using native currency, probably airdrops coming. I don't know. Like when that a few steps ahead, when people that help contribute there end up becoming or end up winning in some tangible way that's easy to understand, probably monetarily, it's going to bring more people in, bring more experience. And then that flywheel really goes in motion, is the kind of overarching, I think, understanding that people have this space right now. And it just, time will tell if that actually comes to fruition or if we need to wait longer or something like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think, Nifty Island certainly offers something different. There's if we were hanging out on Friday with a bunch of crypto artists and we're like, let's go see one of the dopest art galleries in the metaverse or something, Nifty Island would not be where you go to. But in terms of like having something fun to do with a bunch of people and like an active, like participatory, experience that's, just for hanging out and goofing around, man, it's nice to have something like that in this space, which like we've said before, has been sorely missing. And I feel sort of the same about Warpcast, man. I'm like, if this is the place for that, I still, when I pop in, I periodically just run into people that I'm familiar with in different spots and everything, and so I'm like, if this is the place where the community gathers to do that, then same as Warpcast, man, I'm willing to put up with like a lot of jank and like, ride it out for the sake of, figuring out where everyone is at and, is doing the fun shit together. And I don't know, man, I still feel like it has legs. Like, yeah, I agree with the Blooms. I like the flywheel that they're building in. It seems like they're on like a 3-month like cycle, or at least that's my guess from the outside, looking at like, they got items on the marketplace that have like a 3-month timer or whatever. Then those are the ones you can buy for Blooms. And so I don't follow their Discord too frequently. Maybe people already know, but I'm interested to see like what happens after that. And I don't know, man, but I like being along for the ride. It seems like people are still along as well.
Same. And that's probably a perfect place to wrap it up. Happy to be along for the ride with you, dude. And everyone else listening in. Jay Dilla, Dragonate's mom, Dragonate. And then shout out Brookhawk, who was here earlier.
Hell yeah. Shout out all y'all.
Enjoy your family. We'll hold it down at the whip tomorrow in your absence with the fake Rizzles. And next week, dude.
All right, right on, man.
Peace.
Later.